Before you scroll away, let me ask you something gently. Is there something in your life that hurt you so quietly that even now, no one knows how much it changed you? If the answer is yes, then don't leave yet, because this is not about what they did. This is about what Allah did after. Allah saw the part of you that broke in secret. There are pains you never turn into words. You don't speak them. You don't even make dua about them. You just sit with them in the quiet, hoping time will carry them away. And maybe you tell yourself, if I don't name this pain, it will eventually leave me. Maybe you believe that staying silent makes you strong. Maybe you think that if no one else knows, then it doesn't fully exist. But Allah does not wait for your voice. He sees what lives in your chest before it ever reaches your lips. He sees the moment your heart tightens for no clear reason, when everything around you looks normal, but something inside you suddenly feels heavy. He sees the way your eyes lose their softness when a memory passes through your mind without warning. He sees how you pause in the middle of your day, not because you are tired, but because a feeling you thought you buried quietly found its way back to the surface. Allah sees the version of you that still shows up for life, the one who answers messages, the one who goes to work, the one who smiles when spoken to, and He also sees the part of you that feels unfinished, like something inside, never fully healed, even though you learned how to live around it. There were nights when you lay awake, staring at the ceiling, not knowing what to say to Him. You didn't know what to ask for. You didn't know how to explain what hurt. You just felt the weight of it sitting in your chest, heavy and quiet. But even in those moments, Allah was listening, because Allah does not only hear words, He hears states, He hears feelings, He hears the heart when the tongue does not know how to speak. Your silence was not emptiness. Your silence was a form of calling. Every tear you held back, so no one would see you break. Every deep breath you took to steady yourself before walking back into the world. Every moment you chose to be strong when you felt like collapsing inside. Allah saw all of it. Nothing you felt slipped into nothingness. Nothing disappeared into the air and vanished. It was gathered. It was remembered. It was held with care. Sometimes you may wonder, if Allah saw this, why did it still hurt this much? And the answer is gentle. Not all pain is sent to destroy you. Some pain is allowed to soften you, to slow you down, to bring your heart closer to Allah, in ways comfort never could. There are things you only say to Allah when you are tired of being strong. There are prayers that only rise from a heart that has reached the end of its own strength. And Allah values those moments deeply, because in those moments, you are not performing. You are not pretending. You are simply being honest in His presence, even if that honesty is silent. A heart that suffers quietly is never hidden from Allah. You may feel unseen by people. You may feel forgotten by the world. You may feel like your pain never found a place to rest. But with Allah, it already has. He knows the exact weight of what you carry. He knows how long you have been carrying it. He knows the strength it takes for you to still move forward with it inside you. And sometimes, just knowing this is enough to let your heart breathe a little easier, because you were never alone in what you felt. You were never unheard in what you carried. You were never invisible in your quiet struggle. Allah was there in every moment you thought no one saw, and He still is. Allah kept you quiet, so your honor would stay loud. After someone hurts you, there is a moment when your whole body wants to speak. Not gently, not carefully, but urgently. You want to explain yourself. You want to correct what was misunderstood. You want the world to hear your side of the story before the wrong version of you becomes the one people remember. You replay conversations in your head. You imagine what you should have said. You think about the messages you almost sent but didn't. And in those moments, silence feels like weakness. It feels like losing. But Allah sees something you cannot see yet. He sees that your dignity is too valuable to be placed in the hands of people who only hear what fits their own understanding. So he holds your tongue, not to silence your truth, but to protect it. There are battles that are not meant to be fought with words. There are stories that are not meant to be explained by you, because when you speak in pain, your heart becomes exposed. And not everyone deserves access to your heart. While you stayed quiet, something else was happening. Allah was working in ways that did not make noise. He was shifting positions. He was moving people away from spaces they no longer belonged in. He was closing doors that looked open on the outside, but were already empty on the inside. You may have felt like nothing was happening, but Allah does not always work in moments. Sometimes He works in movements you only notice later. There were days when you wondered if staying silent made you look small, if it made people think you accepted what happened, if it made you seem weak. But in the sight of Allah, restraint is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is choosing patience when your emotions are loud. It is choosing trust when your mind wants proof. Every time you held back a sentence that could have turned into an argument, Allah saw it. Every time you chose to walk away instead of explain yourself, Allah recorded it. And understand this deeply. Not everyone who hears your story will understand it. Not everyone who knows your truth will respect it. But Allah understands it completely. There is a kind of honor that only comes when you allow Allah to be your defender, because Allah does not defend you by making noise. He defends you by changing outcomes. He defends you by removing you from places where you would have been misunderstood. He defends you by guiding you toward people who recognize your heart without needing explanations. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize something quietly. The people who truly mattered never needed your side of the story. They recognized your character without hearing your pain. And the ones who needed explanations were never meant to stay in your life for long. Sometimes, Allah allows your name to be misunderstood for a season, not to harm you, but to filter who is walking beside you for the right reasons. Silence becomes a test, not for them, for you. A test of whether you will trust Allah with your reputation. A test of whether you will believe that He can protect your honor better than your own words ever could. And this is not easy. There are nights when you want to speak to the world, but instead, you speak to Allah. You say everything in dua that you didn't say to people. You release every sentence you swallowed. You place every unfair moment into His hands, and Allah receives it. He does not dismiss it. He does not minimize it. He holds it. Because in the sight of Allah, your restraint is not invisible. It is worship, a quiet, heavy form of worship that does not show on the outside, but shines deeply in your record. So if you ever feel like staying silent cost you something, remember this. Allah never lets dignity be lost in His presence. What you did not say out loud, He heard. What you did not defend publicly, He defended in ways you could not imagine. And the peace that will come from trusting Him with your honor will one day feel far greater than any explanation you could have given. Allah removed them before they reached who you're becoming. The deepest pain was not what they did to you. It was what you imagined with them. It was the future you quietly built in your heart without ever saying it out loud. The conversations you thought you would still be having years from now. The moments you believed you would share. The memories you assumed were waiting for you somewhere ahead. You didn't just lose a person. You lost a version of life you had already started living inside yourself. And that is why it hurts so deeply. There are losses that take something from your hands. And there are losses that take something from your hopes. This was the second kind. You may have asked Allah in the quiet of your own heart, why would you allow something that felt so real to disappear? You may have wondered if you did something wrong, if you weren't enough, if you missed a sign you were supposed to see. But listen to this gently. Allah does not only see who fits into your life today. He sees who can walk with the person you are becoming tomorrow. There is a version of you that does not exist yet, a stronger one, a wiser one, a more grounded one, and not everyone who knows you now will recognize you then. Some people are meant to walk beside you while you are learning who you are, but they are not meant to walk beside you when you become who you are meant to be. So Allah steps in, not to punish you, not to take something away for no reason, but to protect what is forming inside you. Sometimes Allah removes a person not because they are bad, but because they are no longer aligned with where your life is going. Sometimes He creates distance not because there is hatred, but because there is a difference in direction. You may not see that direction yet. You may still be standing in the place where everything fell apart. But Allah already sees the place where you are going. And He knows that if certain people stayed in your life, they would hold you in a version of yourself that you were meant to grow out of. There are attachments that feel like love, but slowly become limits. There are connections that feel comforting, but quietly keep you from rising. Allah does not break those connections gently, because if He did, you would go back. So He makes the separation strong enough that returning would cost you your peace. And in that pain, something else begins to happen. You start standing on your own. You begin to hear your own thoughts instead of echoing someone else's. You start making decisions based on who you are, not who you are trying to keep. You begin to discover parts of yourself that never had space to exist before. This is not coincidence. This is Allah creating room. Room for growth. Room for clarity. Room for people and opportunities that match the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. You may still look back sometimes. You may still wonder what would have happened if things stayed the same. But one day, quietly, you will realize something. If they had stayed, you would not have moved the way you did. If that door had not closed, you would not have walked through the ones that opened later. What felt like being left behind was also being guided forward. What felt like rejection was also redirection. Allah does not take something from you without knowing what He is making space for. And even if you cannot see that space yet, it exists. It exists in the strength you are building. It exists in the awareness you are gaining. It exists in the life that is slowly shaping itself around the person you are becoming. So when you think about what you lost, try to remember this. You were not just losing someone. You were being prepared for yourself. And the version of you that is coming will one day look back at this moment with gratitude, not because it didn't hurt, but because it led you exactly where you needed to go. Allah removed them before they reached who you are becoming, not to leave you empty, but to leave you open. Allah turned your pain into a new way of seeing. You don't look at the world the same anymore. There was a time when you trusted easily, when you assumed people meant what they said, when you believed that intentions were always as clean as the words that carried them. But now, something inside you has shifted. You listen more carefully. You notice pauses in people's voices. You feel the space between what is spoken and what is meant. This did not happen because you became cold. It happened because Allah taught your heart how to see. Pain has a way of slowing you down. It forces you to sit with moments instead of rushing past them. It makes you pay attention to what you once overlooked. And in that stillness, Allah begins to refine your vision. You start to recognize when something doesn't feel right, even if it looks right on the surface. You begin to sense when a smile is hiding something, when kindness is carrying conditions, when a promise is standing on weak ground. This awareness is not suspicion. It is clarity. Allah does not give this clarity to every heart. He gives it to hearts that have been tested, hearts that have learned the difference between appearance and reality. There were times when you blamed yourself for not seeing things earlier. You wondered why you trusted, why you believed, why you didn't notice the signs when they were still small. But listen gently. You were not blind. You were sincere. And sincerity is not a flaw. It is a quality Allah places in hearts He intends to grow. What you went through did not take that sincerity away. It gave it wisdom. Now, when something feels off, you don't ignore it. You don't push it aside to keep the peace. You don't silence your own heart to protect someone else's comfort. You listen. This is not weakness. This is strength that has learned how to be quiet and steady instead of loud and reactive. Allah often teaches this kind of strength through moments that break your expectations, moments when things don't go the way you planned, moments when people don't turn out the way you hoped, moments when life shows you that not everything pure will be met with purity. But even in that, Allah is not taking something from you. He is adding something to you. He is adding depth. He is adding discernment. He is adding the ability to move through the world without losing yourself in it. You begin to understand that not every invitation needs an answer. Not every door needs to be opened. Not every person needs access to your inner world. And this understanding does not make you distant. It makes you intentional. You start choosing where you place your energy, who you give your time to, what you allow to shape your heart. This is one of the quiet ways Allah protects you. He does not always remove the world from you. Sometimes He teaches you how to walk through it without letting it shape you in ways that harm you. Your pain did not just pass through you. It stayed long enough to teach you something. It taught you that peace is not found in being understood by everyone. It is found in being aligned with Allah. It taught you that strength is not in never being hurt. It is in being hurt and still choosing to remain sincere, still choosing to remain kind, but no longer choosing to be careless with your heart. This balance is not easy, but Allah guides those He loves into it. So when you notice that you see things differently now, don't see it as something you lost. See it as something you were given. You were given the ability to move with awareness instead of assumption, with wisdom instead of impulse, with trust in Allah instead of trust in every passing moment. And this way of seeing will protect you in places where your strength alone never could. Because eyes can be fooled, but a heart taught by Allah learns how to recognize truth even when it stands quietly in front of it. Your pain did not make you smaller. It made you clearer. And clarity is one of the most gentle forms of mercy Allah places in a heart that has been through enough to finally see. Allah protected your heart from becoming hard. There was a moment when you could have closed yourself completely, after being hurt, after being disappointed, after realizing that not everyone who comes close to you comes with clean intentions. It would have been easy to build walls so high that nothing could reach you again. And maybe you tried, even if only for a short while. You told yourself you would stop caring so deeply. You promised yourself you would stop trusting so easily. You decided that distance would be safer than connection. But something inside you didn't let that hardness stay. And that something was not weakness. It was protection from Allah. Because Allah knows what kind of heart you were created with. He knows how deeply you feel. He knows how sincerely you give. He knows how easily you carry the emotions of others as if they were your own. And He also knows that if your heart became hard, you would lose something precious, not just the ability to feel pain, but the ability to feel mercy. So Allah allowed you to be hurt without allowing you to become bitter. This is not a small thing. In a world that teaches people to guard themselves by becoming cold, Allah taught you to guard yourself by becoming wise instead. There is a difference. Coldness shuts everything out. Wisdom chooses what to let in. And you are learning that difference slowly, through experience, through reflection, through moments when you feel both the desire to close off and the pull to remain open. Allah stands in that space with you. He doesn't push you to become naive again, but He doesn't allow you to become empty either. He teaches your heart how to stay soft without staying unprotected. You may notice this in small ways. You still care when someone is struggling. You still feel when someone is hurting. You still pause when you see someone treated unfairly. Even after what you've been through, your heart still responds. That is not something you taught yourself. That is something Allah preserved in you, because a heart that can still feel after being hurt is a heart Allah still intends to use for good. There are people who go through pain and come out closed. They stop giving. They stop caring. They stop believing in sincerity. And there are people who go through pain and come out deeper. They become more understanding, more patient, more aware of how fragile the human heart can be. Allah is shaping you into the second kind, not someone who walks through life unguarded, but someone who walks through life with compassion that is guided, not careless. This balance is not easy. There are days when you feel tired of being the one who still feels, when you wonder if it would be easier to stop caring altogether. But Allah sees something you might not. He sees that your softness is not a liability. It is a trust. It is something He placed in you because He knew you could carry it without letting it destroy you. And every time you choose not to let pain turn you into someone you are not, you are honoring that trust. You are choosing to remain aligned with the way Allah created your heart, even when the world tries to reshape it through disappointment. There is a quiet strength in this, a strength that doesn't come from being untouchable, but from being able to feel and still move forward. A strength that doesn't come from closing off, but from knowing where to place your heart and where to keep it protected. Allah is teaching you this step by step, through people, through experiences, through moments when you realize that you can care without carrying everything, that you can be kind without giving everything away. This is part of your growth. So, if you ever feel tired of being someone who still feels deeply, remember this. Allah did not protect your heart from becoming hard by accident. He did it because your ability to feel is not meant to be wasted. It is meant to be guided. It is meant to be placed in the right spaces, with the right people, for the right reasons. One day, you will see how your softness became a source of peace instead of pain, how your ability to feel became a bridge instead of a burden. And in that moment, you will realize that Allah didn't just heal your heart. He preserved its beauty. Even when the world tried to take it away, Allah is answering you with a life, not just a moment. There is a part of you that is still waiting, not loudly, not impatiently, but quietly, in the background of your days. You go about your routine. You speak to people. You move through life. Yet somewhere inside, there is a soft question that never fully leaves your heart. When will this make sense? When will I understand why this had to happen? You may have expected Allah's response to come as a clear sign, a message, a moment where everything suddenly becomes obvious. But Allah often answers in a different way. He answers with time. He answers with change that is so slow you don't notice it while it's happening. You think you are standing still, but your life is quietly moving forward. There were days when you woke up feeling the same heaviness. Days when nothing seemed different. Days when you thought, if Allah is answering me, why do I still feel like this? But look closely. The things that once hurt you as deeply no longer have the same hold on you. The memories that once took your breath away now pass through you more gently. The questions that once kept you awake at night now rest quietly in the background. This is not because you forgot. It is because Allah is healing you in a way that does not make noise. Sometimes Allah does not remove the pain all at once. He slowly replaces it with peace. Not the kind of peace that arrives in a single moment, but the kind that grows quietly. Like light entering a room through a small opening, you begin to notice new things, new people who treat you with respect instead of confusion, new spaces where you feel safe instead of tense, new parts of yourself that feel stronger than you remember being. And you may not connect these things to what you went through, but they are part of the same answer. Allah is not just responding to a moment in your past. He is shaping a future around you. A future where you are not constantly returning to what hurt you. A future where your heart does not live in the same place it was wounded. There is a wisdom in this. If Allah only gave you an explanation, you might still carry the same pain. But when He gives you a better life, the pain slowly loses its place inside you. You stop asking, "Why did this happen?" And you start living. "Look at who I am becoming. This shift is subtle. One day, you realize you laughed without thinking about the past. Another day, you notice you made a decision without fear guiding it. Another day, you find yourself hoping again, even though you once promised you wouldn't. These are signs of Allah's response. Not loud, not dramatic, but real. Allah does not rush His answers, because He is not just trying to fix a moment. He is building a person. You, the version of you that can carry more peace, the version of you that does not break as easily, the version of you that walks forward without constantly looking back. And sometimes this takes longer than we want, but it lasts longer than anything we could have asked for. There may still be nights when you feel the old questions return, moments when the past feels close again, and that does not mean Allah stopped answering. It means healing is not a straight line. Even in those moments, your life is still moving forward, still growing, still opening. One day, you will look at your life and realize something gently. What hurt you did not stop you. It changed your direction. It placed you on a path you never would have chosen, but one that led you somewhere you needed to be. And you will see that Allah did not just answer your pain with comfort. He answered it with transformation. So if you are still waiting tonight, still wondering when things will finally make sense, let this rest in your heart. Allah is not only listening to what you ask for, He is preparing what you are becoming. And sometimes, the greatest answer is not a moment where everything is explained. It is a life where you no longer need the explanation to move forward, because peace has quietly taken its place instead. Let me leave you with this, gently. You did not carry everything you carried for nothing. You did not walk through what you walked through unseen. You did not hold yourself together all those nights alone without being noticed. Allah was there in every moment you thought you were by yourself. In the pauses, in the tears you didn't explain, in the strength you didn't realize you were building. If your heart still feels heavy right now, don't rush it to feel better. Sometimes healing doesn't come as relief. Sometimes it comes as understanding. So take this moment and place it back in Allah's hands. The questions, the memories, the things that never got closure, you don't have to carry them alone anymore. Because the one who saw your pain in silence is still walking with you now, still guiding you, still shaping what comes next. And even if you can't see where this road is leading yet, trust this. Allah does not guide a heart just to abandon it halfway. So rest tonight knowing this. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where Allah knows how to reach you. And wherever you go from here, He will already be there before you arrive. Stay with Him, because the story He is writing with your life is gentler, stronger, and more beautiful than anything that ever tried to break you